Welcome to the channel. Every single day, millions of people around the world wake up, grab breakfast, and eat what they believe to be safe, normal food. A bowl of cereal, a cup of coffee, maybe a granola bar on the go. Seems harmless, right? But what if I told you that most of what we eat daily is slowly poisoning our bodies, not in an instant, dramatic way, but quietly, invisibly over months and years? What if the very foods we trust, the ones approved, packaged, and promoted as healthy, contain chemicals and ingredients that are quietly shortening our lifespan, altering our hormones, damaging our brains, and feeding chronic diseases? Today, we're going to uncover what's really hiding behind those colorful food labels, and why even your favorite snack might not be as innocent as it looks. Let's start with the disturbing truth. Modern food is designed for profit, not health. Every bite you take has likely been optimized not for your body's benefit, but for the manufacturer's bottom line. Companies know exactly how to make food addictive. They use chemical combinations that trigger pleasure centers in the brain, creating what scientists call hyperpalatable foods. These are items so stimulating that your brain's reward system lights up the same way it does with drugs. It's not an accident that you can't eat just one chip or that you crave that soda more than water. Behind these cravings are engineered formulas, built to hook you, not nourish you. One of the biggest culprits is artificial flavoring. When you see the phrase natural flavors or artificial flavors on a label, it sounds harmless, but it's a black box. Food companies aren't required to list what's inside those flavor mixes. A single flavor can contain dozens, sometimes hundreds of chemical compounds derived from sources that are far from natural. Some are created using petroleum-based solvents. Others are byproducts of industrial processes. While individually small, their cumulative effect adds up when you consume them daily through snacks, drinks, sauces, and cereals. The scary part is that most people don't even realize these chemicals bypass our taste buds and go straight to our brain chemistry, manipulating our perception of taste and tricking us into overconsumption. Let's talk about preservatives. These are the chemicals that keep your bread soft for weeks, your meat red even after days on the shelf, and your sauces looking fresh and glossy. Take sodium nitrite. For instance, it's commonly used in bacon, sausages, and deli meats to preserve color and prevent bacterial growth. But when heated, it reacts with amino acids to form nitrosamines, which are known carcinogens linked to cancers of the stomach, pancreas, and colon. You might think cooking kills bacteria, but it also activates these harmful compounds. Every bite of processed meat is not just salty protein, it's a cocktail of chemical reactions happening inside your body. Then there's the notorious high-fructose corn syrup, or HFCS. This sweetener, cheaper than sugar and easier to mix into products, has quietly become the backbone of modern processed foods. It's in sodas, breads, sauces, yogurts, and even so-called health bars. The problem is that HFCS doesn't just sweeten, it confuses your metabolism. Unlike natural sugar, which the body regulates through insulin, fructose bypasses that pathway and is processed directly by the liver, where it turns into fat. Over time, this leads to fatty liver disease, insulin resistance, obesity, and an increased risk of heart disease. It's no coincidence that obesity rates skyrocketed in the decades following HFCS's introduction. The industry knew it was cheap and addictive, and they sold it as corn sugar, pretending it was natural. Artificial sweeteners are another silent invader. Aspartame, sucralose, saccharin all promise sweetness without calories. But at what cost? Studies have shown that these chemicals can disrupt the gut microbiome, reducing the number of beneficial bacteria and altering glucose metabolism. Some research even links aspartame to mood disorders, headaches, and memory problems. Ironically, people who consume diet drinks often gain more weight in the long term because their brains lose the ability to associate sweetness with caloric intake. The result? You crave more, eat more, and your metabolism slows down. But sweeteners aren't the only threat hiding in plain sight. Artificial coloring agents like red 40, yellow 5, and blue 1 are widely used to make food visually appealing, especially for kids. These dyes are derived from petroleum, the same crude oil used to make gasoline. While they make candies, cereals, and drinks more vibrant, studies have linked them to hyperactivity, allergies, and even DNA damage in some cases. Many countries, including those in the EU, have banned or restricted certain dyes, yet they remain freely available in North America. Food companies claim they're safe in small amounts, but when every snack, drink, and dessert you consume contains them, those small amounts become daily doses. And then we have trans fats, once hailed as a miracle ingredient because they extended shelf life and improved texture. But trans fats are a ticking time bomb for the cardiovascular system. They raise bad cholesterol, LDL, lower good cholesterol, HDL, and inflame arteries. Even though some regulations now require labeling, manufacturers often hide them under terms like partially hydrogenated oils. These fats lurk in baked goods, margarine, and fast food items millions consume daily without a second thought. The result? A massive increase in heart disease, strokes, and inflammation-related illnesses. Let's dig deeper into something that sounds harmless. Emulsifiers. Found in ice cream, mayonnaise, and salad dressings. Emulsifiers like polysorbate 80 and carboxymethylcellulose are added to keep ingredients from separating. But inside your gut, they can do far worse. Studies show these chemicals may disrupt the gut lining, leading to leaky gut syndrome, where toxins and bacteria pass into the bloodstream, triggering inflammation and autoimmunity. Chronic inflammation, in turn, is the root of countless modern diseases from arthritis to depression. Next up, flavor enhancers like monosodium glutamate or MSG. Has been a controversial topic for decades. Food companies use MSG to amplify savory taste, making bland foods addictive. The problem? MSG can overstimulate neurons, leading to headaches, fatigue, and what's been termed Chinese restaurant syndrome. While not everyone is sensitive, the long-term neurological effects of chronic MSG exposure are concerning. Some studies suggest it may contribute to neurodegenerative diseases by causing excitotoxicity, essentially overloading brain cells until they die. Now imagine combining all these chemicals, preservatives, dyes, emulsifiers, sweeteners, and flavor enhancers into one meal. That's what most modern diets look like. A typical breakfast might include cereal with artificial flavoring and coloring, milk with hormones and stabilizers, and coffee sweetened with a chemical substitute. Lunch could be deli meats laced with nitrites and bread made with dough conditioners and refined flour. Dinner might include packaged sauces full of additives, and dessert might be a low-fat treat full of artificial sweeteners. On paper, it seems like normal food. In reality, it's a slow, daily toxic exposure experiment. The body isn't designed to handle these foreign chemicals. Our liver, kidneys, and digestive system are remarkable at detoxification, but only up to a limit. Constant chemical bombardment overwhelms these organs. The liver stores toxins it can't immediately process, leading to fat accumulation and reduced detox capacity. The kidneys strain to filter out residues. The immune system stays on constant alert, producing chronic low-grade inflammation. You might not feel it instantly, but over time, the fatigue, brain fog, skin problems, and digestive issues start showing up. Even more disturbing is how these ingredients affect children. Developing bodies are far more vulnerable to chemical exposure. Artificial colors and preservatives have been linked to behavioral problems, learning difficulties, and ADHD symptoms. Childhood obesity, insulin resistance, and even early puberty are increasingly traced back to hormonal disruptors in food. Kids today are growing up in a toxic food environment, where candy is chemistry and snacks are science experiments disguised as treats. But not all toxicity is about what's added. Sometimes it's about what's left behind. Pesticide residues, for instance, linger on fruits, vegetables, and grains. Chemicals like glyphosate, the active ingredient in many herbicides, are now found in cereals, oats, and even baby food. Glyphosate has been classified as a probable carcinogen and is known to disrupt the gut microbiome. Similarly, antibiotics used in animal farming don't just vanish. They pass into meat and dairy products, contributing to antibiotic resistance, one of the biggest threats to modern medicine. Another silent villain? Plastic contamination. Many processed foods are stored, heated, or packaged in plastic containers. Over time, these plastics release microparticles and chemicals like BPA and phthalates into the food. These are endocrine disruptors, meaning they mimic or block hormones in the body. They can lead to reproductive issues, thyroid imbalances, and even certain cancers. It's ironic we talk about avoiding plastic straws to save the planet, but every meal we eat might be dosing us with invisible plastic. Cooking methods also play a role in toxicity. When food is fried at high temperatures, it produces acrylamide, a carcinogenic compound. Grilling meats creates heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, both linked to cancer. Even reheating food in plastic containers can cause chemicals to leach out. The convenience of modern eating has replaced traditional cooking methods that preserved nutrients with techniques that generate toxins. The food industry, of course, knows all this. But their defense is always the same: it's safe in small amounts. What they don't mention is the cumulative effect. The human body doesn't reset every day. The preservatives in your breakfast cereal, the artificial sweeteners in your coffee, the dyes in your snacks, they all build up. It's like adding a few drops of poison each day. You won't feel it now, but years later, the damage surfaces as chronic illness. The health crisis we face today, from diabetes to cancer, isn't just about genetics or lifestyle. It's about exposure. We live in a chemical soup disguised as food. It's no wonder detox diets and clean eating trends are rising. People are waking up, realizing that what we put in our mouths is the single greatest influence on our long-term health. Yet escaping this toxic system is not easy, because it's everywhere, from your favorite restaurant sauces to that healthy granola bar you think is good for you. The illusion of choice is one of the cleverest tricks in modern food culture. When you walk into a supermarket, it feels like you have thousands of options. Dozens of brands of chips, dozens of cereals, endless drinks, sauces, and snacks. But if you trace the ownership, you'll realize that nearly all of it is controlled by a handful of megacorporations. These few companies manufacture the illusion of diversity while using the same base ingredients and chemicals across hundreds of products. That means whether you choose brand A or brand B, you're still getting the same additives, preservatives, and flavoring compounds. The packaging changes, the logo changes, the marketing story changes, but the formula remains almost identical. Even so-called healthy and organic brands often belong to the same conglomerates. They use strategic labeling to convince you they're different. Terms like natural, wholesome, farm fresh, and light are powerful marketing tools designed to calm your concerns. But these words have no strict legal definition. A product labeled natural flavor could still contain artificial solvents. Low-fat foods often compensate by adding sugar or artificial sweeteners to maintain taste. Organic processed snacks might still be loaded with emulsifiers and additives that aren't natural at all. It's a psychological game. Make people feel healthy while keeping them hooked on the same addictive formulas. Let's not forget about texture, one of the most overlooked aspects of food manipulation. Ever wondered why your chips are always the same crunch? Or your ice cream always feels perfectly creamy even after months in the freezer? That's because food scientists use texturizing agents like carrageenan, xanthan gum, and guar gum. These compounds manipulate the physical feel of food in your mouth, making low-quality ingredients seem premium. Carrageenan, derived from seaweed, sounds natural but is highly processed and can cause gut irritation and inflammation. In lab animals, it's been linked to digestive distress and even cancerous growths. Yet it's still in countless healthy yogurts, nut milks, and protein shakes because it keeps liquids stable and creamy. Then there's the rise of ultra-processed foods, the new normal for billions of people. These are not just foods with additives. They are industrially restructured substances. Ultra-processed means the food has been broken down into component starches, isolates, oils, and then chemically recombined to form something that barely resembles its original ingredients. Think chicken nuggets, instant noodles, protein bars, and processed cheese slices. These are products engineered for maximum convenience, long shelf life, and irresistible flavor, not for nutrition. They flood the bloodstream with quick sugars, synthetic fats, and chemical residues that confuse the body's hunger and fullness signals. Over time, the body becomes addicted to these fake flavors, making real food taste bland. Another hidden danger is the manipulation of salt. Salt itself isn't evil, in fact. It's essential for our health in moderation. But processed foods contain industrial salt, often loaded with anti-caking agents and refined sodium chloride stripped of trace minerals. The excess sodium in packaged foods doesn't just raise blood pressure. It alters fluid balance, strains the kidneys, and can even affect cognitive function over time. And because manufacturers rely on salt to mask poor quality ingredients and extend shelf life, it becomes nearly impossible for the average consumer to control their intake. Let's talk about something that sounds harmless, but is far from it: vegetable oil. The name makes it sound plant-based and healthy, but most of what we call vegetable oil comes from heavily processed seeds like soy, corn, and canola. These oils are extracted using high heat and chemical solvents like hexane, then bleached and deodorized to make them look appealing. The result is a product rich in omega-6 fatty acids that promote inflammation. When heated, these oils release toxic compounds like aldehydes that can damage DNA and cells. Ironically, while people avoid saturated fats, they unknowingly consume these highly unstable, oxidized seed oils that are far more harmful over time. Speaking of fats, many low-fat products are some of the most dangerous on the market. When fat is removed, flavor disappears and companies compensate by adding sugar, artificial thickeners, and flavor enhancers. What you get is a Frankenstein food, something that tastes like the real thing but has no nutritional balance. The obsession with low-fat and low-calorie labels has created a generation of people who eat constantly but remain undernourished. Their bodies crave essential fatty acids and nutrients, but all they get are empty calories and chemicals. A key reason why these toxic ingredients persist is that regulation often favors corporations over consumers. In many countries, chemicals can be added to food as long as they are generally recognized as safe, a vague phrase that allows manufacturers to bypass long-term testing. Companies can even self-certify new additives without government review. That means you could be eating substances that have never been independently studied for cumulative health effects. Some ingredients banned in Europe due to proven health risks are still freely used in the US because lobbying groups ensure they stay legal. The result is a massive experiment where human health becomes collateral damage for profit. If this video opened your eyes to what's really hiding in your food, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so more people can learn the truth and start taking back control of their health.